Audible's romance collection has something to satisfy every side of you. When it comes to what kind of romance you're into, you don't have to choose just one. Fancy a dalliance with a duke, or maybe a steamy billionaire. You could find a book boyfriend in the city and another one tearing it up on the hockey field. And if nothing on this earth satisfies, you can always find love in another realm. Discover modern rom-coms from authors like Lily Chu and Ali Hazelwood, the latest romantasy series from Sarah J. Maas and Rebecca Yarros, plus Regency favorites like Bridgerton and Outlander. And of course, all the really steamy stuff. Your first great love story is free when you sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com/Wondery. That's audible.com/Wondery.
AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR live from Don Juan Cigar Bar. We are presented today by Pinhook Bourbon, and glad to have you aboard on a Football Friday. Muse, Paulie back in studio, Alondra on site. I'm here, and we are thrilled to have you as well. Count you down to LSU in Alabama from Bryant Dennehy Stadium in Tuscaloosa. Saints on the road in Carolina. We'll get you an injury report there as well. Phil Steele in 15 minutes. Terrio next hour. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
All right, it's Tigers and Tide after 2 weeks of talking about everything but football, from Brian Kelly being fired to coaching search rumors to Nick Saban coming back to the governor doing what he did last week to Scott Woodward being, well, mutually agreeing to part ways, to then a president and Verge is the interim, then he's not the interim, then he's actually the real full-time and now is it whatever, but now he is for sure the AD. Anyway, all that to say, it feels like we've made it through all the talking, and finally we actually have a football game to play. I mean, Frank came in as the interim during all of this hoopla in an open date, so we didn't have a football game to distract us from all the things going on. Well, now we have a football game, and it's the one that is the most anticipated football game annually with LSU and Alabama, one of the most anticipated annually on the entire college football calendar, but it's been radio silence about this football game for 2 weeks. Typically, it's a 2-week buildup, the crescendo, where we diagnose and analyze every angle of this game ad nauseum to where we're finally, by the time Saturday comes around, like, would you just kick off the damn game already? Well, now we're finally just turning our attention to the game. I'll tell you the good thing from the LSU football team standpoint is while you and I have talked about everything but, internally, they've had to focus on this game. And I think Frank Wilson, from all accounts, talking to players and coaches and people internally this week, has done a really good job of focusing them on the task at hand and what they can control. Listen, I know I've said this before, but it bears repeating. Frank Wilson served as the recruiting coordinator in 2 different stints now. So literally every player on this team had some interaction with Frank Wilson during their recruitment. He has a relationship with every player on the team. So to hold that role, you have to be a great communicator. You have to be able to convince people to follow you, to come play for you, and all that sort of stuff. So, and we've given you examples like the great detail he went into talking about Harlem Berry's family. His dad was in a band. His grandfather was a musician. His mom's in Zulu, went to Warren and Easton, watched him when he played at Nord. I mean, when you know someone at that depth, there's a deeper relationship. And I say actions speak louder than words. And an evidence is the fact that nobody entered the transfer portal. So I think Frank Wilson will have this team ready to go. And they have been focusing on this in this game and this opponent while everything outside of them is talking about everything else. I think they've done a good job of being insular, and we'll see how it plays out when they go play a football game. But I mean, look at Penn State. Penn State is winless in conference. Let me say that again. Penn State, preseason number 2 team in the country, winless in conference. They're awful. They've quit completely. And I understand their quarterback got hurt. But on the flip side, nobody opted out at LSU. Like, everybody's still in for Frank Wilson and this team, so we'll see how it goes. Now, there's a couple of notable personnel questions that we need to keep an eye on. One, of course, is Whit Weeks, and I've told you since we were in Nashville that Whit was going to be out a while, and maybe it was even optimistic to think he'd be back by Bama. So Thursday night after practice, Frank Wilson gave the update on Whit Weeks, and it's not a good one.
He'll be doubtful. He tried to give it a go today. He bounced around a little bit. We'll look at him again tomorrow, but in transparency, he's probably doubtful for tomorrow.
So don't expect Whit to go. Again, I don't know why, and I have asked both on the athletic department side, the football side, about why they're being a little coy with Whit and not disclosing the nature of the injury. That's up to them. They can do what they want. There's HIPAA and all that sort of stuff. But we've been telling you since Nashville, it's more serious than they've been letting on, and it's why he hasn't been out there, and it looks like he's going to miss this game as well. And it's disappointing, not only because he's a really talented player, but you've missed the last 2 games. Weeks has missed the last 2 games, Vanderbilt and Texas A&M, and in both of those games, your defense really struggled. It was the most points your defense has allowed all year. I don't think it's necessarily a coincidence that it happened to be the games where Whit wasn't out there. Now, a big part of that is you're facing a running quarterback, and I think as time continues to show, that's kind of Blake Baker's Achilles heel. We got the 2-year sample size now. His defenses don't stop running quarterbacks. It's perplexing. The athletes are much better, more veteran this year than a year ago. Like, I could have put it on some of the personnel a year ago, but it's clear that's not the case here. And you're still struggling with it. The good news for Saturday is Ty Simpson isn't a running threat. He's an athletic guy, but he's got 80 rushing yards on the whole season. So that's not a guy that you're fearful is going to go run for 80 in the game. So that's one. The other part of this, and by the way, this was Frank on his radio show Thursday night after the media availability. Elaborate a little more on Whit.
We'll continue to monitor will be Whit because he wants to play. He has shown progress throughout the week. I think today it was 50-50. You know, we have to prepare responsibly. I have to have our team prepared responsibly as if he's not going to be there, only because it's not plus 50% at this time. If you asked him today, he said, he would say, I think I have a shot. But I don't know how long that will last if you have a shot. And so we're going to do right by him. And if he's capable and he gets clearance, we're going to roll with him. If he's not, we'll have the right people in position to step up.
It's the right decision to do right by Whit Weeks, and they're not going to compromise him. And, you know, if it's not this week, maybe it's next week. He'll get closer to getting back at some point. The one conversation that we will have moving forward is, you know, are we talking about a situation where Whit coming into this year almost certainly was a draftable, projected type guy that maybe with NIL, with rev share, and with a plummeting draft stock because of the injury, maybe considers coming back next year? That's something I think that isn't out of the realm of possibility. We'll have that conversation as we move forward. The good news for LSU on the injury report, looks like Carius Curne will be able to go. He's now probable for LSU. So I would assume that Curne, if he's able to go, would start at left tackle like he did against Texas A&M. Not quite as sincere a challenge as you had in Cassius Howell from the Aggies, but again, in what percentage is Carius Curne, don't know, but I'd rather have him available than not. And it looks like he's going to be able to go for LSU on Saturday. One more from Frank, and this is from his radio show. And this is one of the things that always could be the case when you have a new voice, is you could see personnel changes. Like, you can't go make trades or anything like that in college, but you could have guys that haven't been featured that might get more of a chance under a new staff. And Frank Wilson mentioned a couple of young guys who are probably going to get some run in Tuscaloosa on Saturday.
Yeah, we got quite a few guys. Jace Thomas is a young guy in the secondary who has done some good things for us that we're anticipating getting into the game this week. Teron Francis is a freshman wide receiver from New Orleans, from Etna that'll be involved in a little offense, a lot of special teams. You know, we looked at our teams unit, and it's 1/3 of the football game, right? And so for us, we have guys who have an opportunity to play 20 to 30 snaps between the 4 core units, and we really wanted to enhance that.
I think that is really important. And Frank Wilson has always had an emphasis and a focus on special teams. So you want to get your better players there. He mentioned Jace Thomas. Jace Thomas is the one who had the blocked punt for the safety against Texas A&M. So no doubt you'll see him there. I don't know how Jace Thomas would factor in defensively in this football game. That's a heavy lift to think that you'd put him out there against Ty Simpson in the secondary against Ty Simpson, this Alabama passing offense. But Teron Francis, y'all, they call him man-child, and that's a dude that probably had the most highlight reel plays in fall camp. I mean, I think at some point, if you go back, I don't know that you will, but if you want to go back and look at fall camp notes and reports, I think we said at one point, like, he might be the most impressive receiver in fall camp, but he might be the 5th, 6th best receiver on the team, or 8th best receiver on the team, whatever it was at the time. Like, Teron Francis's time is going to come, and he is going to be special here because he just has that really special explosive ability. Like, he's the next guy from Louisiana that's going to pop as really an elite wide receiver. But on the season, he's played. It looks like he's played 3 snaps on the entire season. So, I'm not sure that you're expecting a big role. And if he's out there on offense, whose snaps is he taking? But something worth keeping an eye on. See if Teron Francis gets a little run there in Tuscaloosa against Alabama. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Our Friday show today from Don Juan Cigar Bar is presented by Pinhook Bourbon. So pleased to have this relationship. I mean, I've been a Pinhook Bourbon fan. Y'all know I'm a whiskey nerd, and I've been a Pinhook fan for a lot of years. Matter of fact, my buddy Chase Parham, who covers Ole Miss, introduced me in 2017 to Pinhook, and it has been on my bar at my house ever since. Their staple offerings, their core offerings, the bourbon, the rye, and the cask strength bourbon. You can find them anywhere. Their vertical series is outstanding. They age it kind of like wine, where it's the same mash bill, the same juice. They just have a release every year as it continues to age. And I think that it'll age through maybe the final release will be 2032 maybe. So the vertical series is awesome as well. You ever get a chance to get your hands on it, do it. Listen, if you're shopping at the store or you're at your favorite watering hole like Don Juan, they got all the Pinhook offerings here. Make sure you ask specifically for Pinhook Bourbon. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back every Football Friday. We visit with our buddy Phil Steele, preview the biggest games of the college football weekend. We will do that next here on AFR.
After Further Review.
Duplessis Builders and DuplessisBuilders.net. That's the website. Thinking of building a pool or an outdoor kitchen? I'll tell you what, tomorrow LSU will play Alabama. The game will end. I'll go into my outdoor kitchen. I'll fire up a live stream. I'll have a Bocock Brothers premium cigar, probably a glass of Pinhook bourbon as well. And I'll enjoy my outdoor kitchen with my big screen TV outside, the big bar stools, the bar top counter, all that. If that's something that you would love to have in your life, it's possible. And Duplessis Builders can make it happen. Listen, if you want the big, beautiful custom resort-style pool or outdoor kitchen, Duplessis Builders will build you the biggest, most beautiful pool, kitchen, any finishes, any specifications you want. Nobody's better. And they offer the longest labor warranty in the industry, 10 years. But they also have options starting as low as $49,000 for your own custom pool. You can check it out online right now at DuplessisBuilders.net. Again, online at DuplessisBuilders.net.
Finally, we actually get to talk about football. It's been 2 weeks of pretty much everything but football, but it's LSU Alabama. Even though it might be the least anticipated LSU Alabama game in quite a while, it's still LSU Alabama, and Phil Steele's here to break down the entire college football weekend. With us, PhilSteele.com, STEELE, PhilSteele.com. Phil, we always appreciate it, man. How are you?
You know, I'm doing great, Matt. How about yourself?
Ready to watch football and actually see, helmets and pads pop and balls caught and thrown and talk about anything other than governor interference and presidents making missteps and who might be a coach or whatever. It doesn't matter. We got a lot of good ones, Phil, this weekend, and a couple of good ones even tonight on Friday, and one that's of great interest to a lot of people here in Louisiana. Tulane, they're 3-1 in the American. They're on the road at Memphis, 4-1 in the American. Memphis a 3.5-point favorite. Both these teams may be keeping their slight heartbeat for an outside playoff shot alive here with this ball game. So Tulane at Memphis, how do we see it?
I think it's going to be a heck of a game, Matt. When you take a look at the two teams, Memphis coming off a big win last week over South Florida, or 2 weeks ago, I should say, over South Florida, a team that looks like they might be the most talented team in the American, but a big win there. Brandon Lewis got injured late against Rice, but I think he's going to play for this one. And for Tulane, a disappointing loss at UTSA, but UTA is almost unbeatable at home. Same thing with Memphis, though. Memphis almost unbeatable at home. So I think it's going to be a close game, a real shootout. I'm going to lean a little bit, though, with the home team, Memphis.
Memphis laying the 3.5 there at home. Also tonight, Phil, you were so spot on with USC a year ago, how close they were to potentially being a playoff team. And no one's really talking about the Trojans, but they just keep, strutting along here. And Southern Cal's got another one here tonight at home against Northwestern. SC 6-2 overall, 4-1 in the Big Ten. I mean, they're still mathematically in the mix here. Southern Cal's a 13.5-point home favorite. Layup here for the Trojans?
Yeah, I think it will be. And if you look at USC the rest of the way, if they win out, they're clearly in the playoff. A two-loss Big Ten team will make the playoff, and especially they would have a road win over Oregon in the mix there, and a big win over Iowa as well. So clearly they control their own destiny coming into this. I like the overall talent. Maeva at QB, and the running back core actually down to a walk-on in King Miller, but he's been running the ball like crazy. He's averaging 7.8 yards per carry. They've got the receivers with Lemon and Lane, and an outstanding defense has got 22 sacks this year. And when you look at Northwestern, they rely on a solid run game, but I think if USC stacks the box and forces Preston Stone to throw the ball, this guy's got a 10-9 ratio this year. That game against Purdue a couple weeks back, he threw like 3 interceptions that were dropped. I think the interceptions might be the key here. So look for a few Preston Stone interceptions and for USC to win this one by more than 14.
Phil, let's stay in the Big Ten. Indiana, my God, they are just bludgeoning everyone at this point. They go to Happy Valley, Penn State, we know the story there. This is a 2-touchdown line. It's 14.5. Nittany Lions got a shot to keep it close?
I think they have the talent to keep it close, Matt, but you wonder about the motivation this time of year. If players are starting to look for elsewhere, if coaches are starting to look for elsewhere, they're down to a backup quarterback in Ethan Grunkemeyer. And how excited is the fan base going to be? I can't imagine it's going to be like the whiteout crowd they had for the Oregon game. And for Indiana, the thing I love about Kurt Cignetti is that he is a guy that in the fourth quarter, his team's up by 21, and he is angry. He wants his team to play every play of the game, and that's why he's such a great favorite this year. And so I think Indiana, you got to continue to ride this buzzsaw. I see Indiana winning this one by 3 touchdowns or more.
He is Phil Steele on Twitter at PhilSteele042. If you want to give him a follow, PhilSteele.com, STEELE, PhilSteele.com. Let's jump into the SEC. Georgia, you've made the prediction. Georgia won't lose again in the regular season, so I know which way you're going here, but it's a big number there at 9.5 on the road at Mississippi State, who just got their first conference win under Jeff Lebby. Bulldogs there in Starkville. How do you see it, Phil?
Yeah, I think Mississippi State's playing really good football. In fact, they took Tennessee to overtime. Led Texas by 17 in the fourth quarter, only lost to Florida by 2. But they did trail Arkansas by 14 last week, and they did lose to Texas A&M by 22. And I just think this Georgia team is getting better and better by the week. Now, they had a close game against Florida. Of course, Gunnar Stockton sliding down at the 1-yard line hurt a few Georgia backers last week.
Hurt me.
But I think Georgia's the better team, and even though they have Texas on deck, coming off the big game against Florida, I think they'll be well prepared for this one. The thing about Kirby Smart is that he's a poor home favorite, but a great away favorite. I'm going to take Georgia minus the points.
Phil, I did get stung by Gunnar Stockton going down. However, I went opposite you on Texas Vanderbilt, and absolutely, it was highway robbery that Vanderbilt covered that game. So the gambling gods giveth, and the gambling gods taketh away. Hey, let's jump into the Big 12 where BYU. Phil, you're going to have to explain how this BYU team just keeps getting such little respect. They're undefeated. They're on the road, and they're a double-digit dog there, 10.5 at Texas Tech. That's going to be the ABC 11 a.m. game. What do you make of this one with BYU at Texas Tech?
Well, last week I thought Texas Tech was ripe for an upset. I thought Kansas State at home had a shot. And, in the first half, very close game. Second half turnovers turned it into a blowout, and Texas Tech rolled. But if you look at Texas Tech this year, they have got 8 wins, and all 8 wins have been by 23 points or more. They have arguably the best defense in the Big 12, holding opponents to 95 yards per game below their average. They have an explosive offense, Cam Dickey, Jacoby Williams at running back. They've got the receiving core, and, of course, Baron Morton now healthy. Their only loss came when Morton missed the game. But I ain't going against BYU. I mean, I've been going against BYU on a weekly basis, and all they do is cover each and every week. So this is one, Matt, where I think the line's justified. Texas Tech should be this big of a favorite. I can't bet against Texas Tech at home when they've been blowing teams out. I sure as heck can't bet against BYU again, so I'm going to pass on this one.
Phil Steele's with us. Say one more in this segment here, Phil. How about Texas A&M at Mizzou? A&M, last time we saw them, of course, they were running roughshod over LSU in Tiger Stadium. They had the bye. Now they go to Mizzou, down there starting quarterback. Eli Drinkwitz have a little magic there in Como tomorrow?
You know, I think Missouri has gotten to this point because of their schedule. It was a very soft schedule to begin with. They opened up 5-0, very impressive 5-0, but played a very weak slate. Now you look at the last 3 games. They lost to Alabama at home, scoring late to get the cover there. They did lose at Vanderbilt, and, of course, Auburn took them to overtime. I think they're a team that's going to struggle without Bo Pribula. Matt Zollers is a good quarterback, has had time to prepare, but to me, A&M is a complete team. They've got the defense holding opponents to 90 yards below their average. They've got one of the best offensive lines in the country, and the Joe Moore Award, on which I'm on the committee, we're going to be releasing our semifinalist list this upcoming week, and I got a feeling that A&M's offensive line might just appear on that list. They also have an outstanding running back core, a bunch of VHT running backs. They've got Craver and Concepcion at receiver, and then a Heisman contender in Marcel Reed. So really a complete team, capable of going on the road, getting the win. And the spread's, in my mind, a little cheap at this point at 6.5. I'll take Texas A&M minus the points here.
He is Phil Steele. We'll knock out a quick break, come back, preview the afternoon slate as well. We're brought to you by Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com. If you get to the website, I want to remind you, our 12 Days of Christmas promotion is open. We're going to be blessing 12 families. Parish giving $1,000, Duplessis Builders giving $1,000, matching it. Ruckus giving shoes for the families, and Chris's Specialty Foods giving a Christmas dinner. So we're going to bless 12 families this Christmas season. We're excited to do that. You can find out more about how you can enter at parishbuilt.com. There's a banner right at the top of the page. If you know a family that maybe needs a little help to have a brighter Christmas, we're excited to help. Go to parishbuilt.com. You'll see the banner right there at the top of the page for the 12 Days of Christmas. We'll knock out a quick break. Phil Steele will preview the evening games with us when we come back on AFR.
AFR.
GLO, glowresources.com, glowresources.com. They are complete employer solutions over at Glow Resources. If you're doing budgets right now for 2026, as a lot of business owners are, I know we're doing that right now at Guarantee, working through our budget process for 2026. And you're thinking about the personnel that can make you more efficient. And let's just be honest. I mean, people are the variable to success, having the right people in your organization in the right role. If you've struggled to find the right people or find people that will stay, Glow Resources can help you do that. Because what they do is they tap into their national network to find the exact right person for whatever job that you have. If it's skilled blue-collar labor, their professional placement division for any type of office job, even C-level management, it's Glow Resources. Check them out online at glowresources.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Always glad to be at Don Juan Cigar Bar on a football Friday. Today presented by our friends at Pinhook Bourbon. Check out Pinhook Bourbon at great local retails. Ask for it at your favorite watering hole. Phil Steele is with us. Of course, philsteele.com. You can take the Phil Steele Plus tour. I'll tell you more about that in just a quick second. Phil, let's jump into the afternoon slate where Oregon is on the road at Iowa. Kinnick, tough place to play. The Ducks are rolling, though. Ducks 6.5-point road favorite here in Iowa. Hawkeyes maybe have any magic there in Iowa City?
Yeah, I like the underdog in this one. I like Iowa plus the points. If you look at Oregon on the season, they've been rolling over teams, but who have they beat? Montana State, Oklahoma State, Northwestern, Oregon State. Yes, Penn State in Happy Valley in a whiteout condition. That was a good game, but at Rutgers, at Wisconsin, and they lost in their one big game to Indiana. Iowa's just playing good football. Now, they don't match up with Oregon statistically because when Iowa has the wind in hand, they pretty much are happy, and Oregon will be tacking on points late in the game. So it's statistically you'd say Oregon, but I like this Iowa team. They've got the special teams advantage. Gronowski's playing better at quarterback each and every week, and they got a guy on defense, Phil Parker, the defense coordinator, one of the best in the game. I think that they slow down this Oregon offense, especially with the wind and the rain. I think it's going to be a tight, lower scoring game, and I think Iowa's got a shot at the upset here.
All right, let's jump back into the SEC, Phil. Auburn's interesting because I always like to ask you about the interim bump and where you think that may happen. So DJ Durkin takes over. They got to go up to Nashville to take on Vanderbilt, of course, coming off their loss at Texas. Vandy's a 6.5-point home favorite. Little hard to try to predict what may happen when you have a head coach in his first game here. How do you see it with Auburn at Vandy?
Yeah, the interim bump has really been a big plus so far this year, and you got to think Auburn's excited because their defensive coordinator, and nothing's wrong with Auburn's defense. They're holding opponents to 107 yards per game below their average, number 10 in the country. They should be excited for this game coming in. But I still have quarterback questions. I mean, last week they started Ashton Daniels. Then they went to Jackson Arnold because the offense wasn't moving. Then they went back to Daniels. And now you're taking on a Vanderbilt team that's off a loss, one that's already beaten LSU by 7 at home, already beaten Missouri by 7 at home. And they're laying less than 7 points here to an Auburn team that I would rank third behind LSU, Missouri. So I got to think Vanderbilt off a loss they don't have any quarterback questions. They've got Diego Pavia. I think Pavia and company bounce back from last week's loss and get the win here.
What about in the ACC, Phil? Maybe one of the quietest teams that we just aren't really talking about is Virginia, who's sitting there at 5-0 in the conference, and they welcome in Wake Forest. Virginia very much controls its own destiny. They're a 6.5-point favorite there in Charlottesville.
Yeah, they had an interesting game last week. You talk about late covers. They got an interception return for a touchdown to cover against Cal. But in that game, they did have a 456, 263-yard edge. And we're driving, got stopped on downs right before that interception. But Chandler Morris playing well. I like the way Jamari Taylor's running the football, and defensively they're doing well. The offense had struggled the previous 3 weeks, but 456 yards last week. They're at home. Now, Wake is more of a defensive team this year. Their defense is actually holding opponents to 87 yards below their average, number 20 in the country. Offense is where they're struggling a little bit. Their two quarterbacks have combined for 9 touchdown passes and 7 interceptions. I think Virginia's the better team. And as you mentioned, under the radar, that's why the spread's as cheap as it is here. I like Virginia minus the points.
Phil, I don't know that you or I could have predicted that at this point in the season, before the season started, that Florida State and Clemson would be a combined, 3-8 in the conference. But Here we are. I'm going to ask you about this one just because it's the names on the marquee, and Clemson's a 1.5-point favorite at home. Both of these programs, Phil, it feels like could be maybe replacing their coach after the season. How do you think this one goes there at Clemson?
Well, Florida State should still show some life. I mean, they're 4-4 right now. They got 4 games left. I thought blowing out Wake Forest last week sort of made them look like they did at the start of the year. Remember, they beat Alabama, blew out a couple of weak teams, but I mean, by scores of like 143-13. Had that overtime loss against Virginia. Had the 6-point loss against Miami, which, by the way, they out first down Miami 29-14. They lost to Pitt at home, which was really disastrous, and then the Stanford loss, where they had a 151-yard edge. So they really have been playing good. They've got a plus 193 yards on the season. And with Clemson, you just wonder where they're at. Now, the Duke game, I still think there was not defensive pass interference. It looked like offensive pass interference at the end of the game. Yeah. Should have been a win for Clemson at home, but they didn't get it. They ended up losing by 1. So I think you've got two teams in a desperate situation here. I think both are better than their record. I find this one's a pure toss-up, though, Matt.
What about Florida and Kentucky? Another one, two teams not going anywhere. They're both 3-5 on the season, but a lot of people here are interested in the SEC slate, so I'll get a thought on that after Kentucky got their first league win.
Yeah, I'm going to lean with Florida in this one. The Gators showed me a lot last week playing against Georgia the way they did. took the game right to the wire. They had beaten Mississippi State the previous week. Now, Kentucky beat Auburn, yes, and I thought they gave a really good game to Texas 2 games prior where they had a 26-8 first down edge. But to me, Florida's got more talent overall. DJ Lagways should have a big game here. I'm going to go with Florida minus the points.
He is Phil Steele on Twitter at PhilSteele042. If you want to give him a follow, do that. Of course, get to PhilSteele.com. All right, Phil. LSU and Alabama, for a decade plus, it was one of the biggest games on the entire college football calendar. Now LSU's got an interim, so we talk about the interim bump. What really are they playing for? They go to Tuscaloosa, where Bama's got everything to play for, and the Tide are a 9.5-point home favorite. Okay, does LSU have some juice, some mojo with the interim bump to maybe keep this thing inside the number and have a late chance at an upset?
I think they'll come out and play hard for their interim head coach, Frank Wilson. And, defense has not been the problem this year, holding opponents 66 yards per game below their average. To me, offense has been the problem. The offensive line's a question mark, gave up 7 sacks to A&M. Nussmeier hasn't come anywhere near what was expected from Nussmeier this year. And Ty Simpson's a guy who looks like he could very well win the Heisman. I mean, this guy's been dissecting defenses all year. Jam Miller is finally healthy at the running back spot. They've got a talented defense as well that holds opponents to 99 yards below their average, and they're at home for this one. I think with more to play for, I look for LSU to make it a good first half. I would take LSU plus points in the first half, and then I see Alabama wearing them down the second half. I would take Alabama overall.
All right. Phil likes the Crimson Tide, but maybe a play on the Tigers in the first half. Phil, we always tell people about the Phil Steele Plus Tour. Check it out every single Thursday when it drops, but you can get it there as well right now at philsteele.com. Let's tell people about it, what they get there.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Matt. Yeah, this week you get 5 selections and 5 quick hitters absolutely free. They both had another winning week last week. The selections, 14, 7, and 1, 67% over the last 4 weeks. And those quick hitters, 25 and 10 the last 6 weeks. And if you like FCS football, our FCS plays on Saturday, 54 and 29 over 2 years. And the best thing is, it's all absolutely free. Head over to philsteele.com. Just click on the Phil Steele Plus Tour, which is right there in the front of the menu, and take the Phil Steele Plus Tour and get 10 free plays.
philsteele.com, STEELE, philsteele.com. Hit the Phil Steele Plus Tour right there on the homepage of the website. Phil, you're the best. We always appreciate the time. Enjoy the football weekend.
Hey, a lot of fun as always, Matt. You have a great weekend, my friend.
You do the very same. He's just the best. He's Phil Steele with us every Friday here. We are at Don Juan Cigar Bar and presented by Pinhook Bourbon today, so come on by and hang out with us. Always love telling you about our friends at First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Your Terrio will be here in just a little bit. He's shared his experience there, calling over there, talking to Tim, going through that process. If it's that recreational timber property, maybe you want your own hunting property, maybe you want the 20 acres, the 100 acres to build your family's dream home. How many families have multiple homes on one piece of property so the family all shares the same piece of land? You could do that as well with First South Farm Credit. Of course, they've been first in agriculture for more than 100 years. It's First South Farm Credit. Go to firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com for First South Farm Credit. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review, a Football Friday edition live from Don Juan Cigar Bar and presented today by Pinhook Bourbon. Terry will be here coming up after the top of the hour. When we come back, our tailgate segment returns. Tigers are on the road. The Saints are on the road, but still always a great opportunity to throw something on the grill, on that green egg, whatever it may be. And our friends over at Chris's Specialty Foods always have options. So Coben will be here. Our tailgate segment is next here as we wrap up hour number 1 from Don Juan Cigar Bar, presented by Pinhook Bourbon.
AFR.
Earlier today, as a matter of fact, I was over at Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Tell you, when you go by Goodwood, there's 3 different businesses all in one on Drusilla. So it's right there on Drusilla between Jefferson and Airline. And when you turn onto Drusilla, you go and you'll see Goodwood is is the bottom left. That's the men's clinic. You'll see Unique Physique, which is the semaglutide, tirzepatide, the GLP-1s for weight loss. And then upstairs is Unique Aesthetics and Wellness, where they have $8 a unit Botox, by the way. What did he say? $8 a unit Botox. That's not an introductory offer. That's not a special. That's an everyday price. It is the lowest price you will get anywhere. So, gents, if you participate in your Botox, you can get it there at Unique Aesthetics and Wellness. And tell the ladies in your life, they know, $8 unit Botox at Unique Aesthetics and Wellness. All part of the family there. YourGoodwood.com.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Yeah, that group's got a great opportunity here for them collectively, individually. It'll be a great game. It's all about physicality, playing the physical game, and then communicating at a really high level. And those guys have worked all week on that process, and so I feel good about that.
Saints head coach Kellen Moore on Friday meeting with reporters, and disappointing news for the Hoodats. Taliesin Fuaga is out for Sunday's game in Carolina. That means obviously already down Eric McCoy at center. Now Fuaga out. And of course you just traded Trevor Penning to L.A. Now I guess the bit of good news there is Dylan Radins. I don't know if we ever decided which one we're going with. But he's played a good bit. He'll slide in, obviously, at left guard where Penning was. You got Luke Fortner at center, but now you'll have a backup there at right tackle as well. So that's a tough scene for Tyler Shuck going on the road against Carolina, trying to make it happen this week with a makeshift offensive line in front of him and a team that already wasn't protecting necessarily well or running the football effectively. On the other side of the ball, Brian Brzee continues to be listed here on the injury report. He's officially listed as questionable after being limited the last 2 days with a back injury. Here was Kellen Moore on Friday with the update and the level of concern for Brzee for Sunday.
Yeah, just something we'll have to let the week play itself out. Obviously, I feel like he's been able to practice in a limited fashion the last 2 days, and so trending well there. But obviously, you got to let these things take its course through an entire week.
I mean, you don't want to be limited in your defensive front. You're already one of the weaker run defenses in the NFL. And this week, of course, you're going to be taking on a Carolina team that, behind Rico Dowdle, has been outstanding running the football. New Orleans, they're 24th in the NFL in scoring defense. You're taking on a Carolina team this weekend that's been one of the best rush offenses in the NFL. Carolina is fifth in the National Football League at 139.8, so 140 rush yards per game. And Rico Dowdle, the former South Carolina Gamecock, has just had an outstanding breakout season here in year 6, which is crazy to think. He just kind of came out of nowhere from being a number 2 now to being a really effective number 1. Now, Dowdle has been battling a quad injury this week, and Dave Canales, when he met with reporters on Friday, this is Carolina's head coach, Dave Canales, gave the update on how Rico Dowdle looked this week.
Rico looked great. Yeah, he had a full day of work, and really looking forward to him on Sunday.
So Dowdle was he's dealing with the quadricep. He was a DNP on Wednesday. He was limited on Thursday, and there was a full participant on Friday. So if you remember, we had Julian Council with us from Locked On Panthers earlier this week and said that was kind of the expectation. He fully thought that they would just take it easy with him, ramp him up, and get him ready to play this weekend against the Saints, and it looks like that. But you're talking about a guy that's averaging nearly 6 yards a carry, already has over 700 rushing yards on the season. Rico Dowdle's been great. He looks healthy, like he's going to be good to go for Carolina on Sunday. We'll talk more about Saints-Panthers throughout the show. We'll give you a final preview and prediction in hour 3. But remember, the Saints have played 4 road games this season, and they've lost all 4 road games by double digits. They have been far more competitive at home, and their only win, of course, against the Giants came at home. But the Saints have really struggled to keep games competitive on the road. Even we look at that Buffalo game where the Saints had a shot to take a lead in the fourth quarter, but ultimately ended up losing by 12. So it has been a real struggle for this team on the road, and they'll have to do it shorthanded on the offensive line, and we'll see about Brian Brzee as well. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. Call 924-2020, 924-2020. You want to see 2020, call 924-2020. You want to ditch those contacts and glasses forever, Dr. Blake Williamson can help you do it. It's easy. Go for that consultation. Call Dr. Blake Williamson at 924-2020. He'll go over all your options with you, no matter what your refractive issue is. Maybe you're short-sighted or nearsighted like I am. Short-sighted. Nearsighted like I am or was. Maybe LASIK or EVO ICL is the answer. Maybe you're farsighted. You're doing the thing where you can't see the menu up close or read a book. You need your readers. You're kind of doing the thing where you're holding your phone far away to see. Maybe it's that custom lens replacement is what you need. If you have HSA or FSA funds, you can apply those toward your refractive procedure. Don't let those funds expire at the end of the year. Call Dr. Blake Williamson. Get that consultation. Get on the books before 2025 ends. Call the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoni.com. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. We do it every Friday. Tailgate segment. Kick it.
At LSU, we play hard, but we tailgate harder. Light your burner, fire up the grill. It's time for our Football Friday tailgate recipe of the week with Chris's Specialty Foods. 4 locations, or go to chrisspecialtyfoods.com.
All right, Coben Linedecker joins us here from Don Juan Cigar Bar. How are you, bro? Good to see you. Wait, he's not up. There. Is he muted? There, that was the ticket.
Good.
Let me get that right there. Come on, bro. All right, there we go. Gotcha. How are you?
Good. Glad to be back.
Of course, man. Good to see you. We had a little fall weather this week, man.
Yes.
Had some temps in the 40s. We're getting like near gumbo etouffee type season. Excited about that.
Yeah.
Tailgate weather. It's all upon us.
Yes.
Holidays are near. All right, we always sort of do the eat the competition thing. I don't think you brought an elephant.
No
elephant. So what are we looking at?
Yeah, so, hunting season's here. Wild games kind of in right now.
Yeah,
so we
like
did
elephant.
Yeah.
Can you eat elephant? Are there places in the world where they eat elephant?
I bet in some places in Africa they do eat it.
You'd eat it?
Yes.
I mean, if you're hunting elephant,
yes.
So they use like the tusk and all that sort of stuff, the
jewelry
ivory,
and stuff.
all that. But I mean, you'd eat the meat, right? You don't just let that go to waste.
I would think so. If you're I would think they would eat it.
All right.
Yeah. So we did a little wild platter. At Chris's, we have a lot of different wild games that we offer. So right here, we'll start. We did a smoked portion of frog legs and a fried portion of frog legs. Here is a stuffed game Cornish hen that we stuffed with cornbread.
Right. All right, hang on. All right, hang on. Wait, we're not going to go so quick. All right, so we got time. So frog legs.
Yes.
You sell them prepared, or can you buy them raw, I guess?
Yeah, so they're already raw. They are in packs of 4.
Okay.
All the skin's already removed. They're already ready to go. You either fry them. Most people fry them, or you can smoke them.
I don't know if I've ever had a smoked frog. What are they seasoned with?
This is a garlic and herb butter that we braised on them and then threw them on the smoker.
All right, cool. So frog leg, easy enough, and that's obviously just flash fried, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, what's a Cornish hen?
So,
I asked if that was a quail.
And it is in the quail family. It's very close to quail.
Yep. I've been stealing off hunting quail all my life. People didn't know these quail hunts.
Yeah, so that is a Cornish game hen stuffed with cornbread. It does taste very similar to quail.
Okay.
Right here we have deer sausage.
Yeah.
For all the hunters that haven't killed yet, we do carry deer already in the store. Here is wild Alaskan caught salmon. It's excellent, very good.
How do you prepare that?
That is blackened. So chef blackened that at the restaurant today. And then here we have a stuffed duck breast wrapped in bacon with jalapeno cream cheese.
Love that.
It's very good. We offer stuffed duck breast or just skin on regular duck breast.
I love duck. There's a lot of restaurants in town that do a great job preparing duck. If I wanted to prepare duck at my house, how would I do that?
So there's a couple different...
I get a duck breast from Chris's. How do I prepare it?
There's a couple different ways. The easiest way would just be throwing it in the oven. Or if you want to get fancy with it, we have the skin-on duck breast where you can sear it more like a steak and get a crust out of the skin.
Okay, I love that.
So if you want to go a little fancy with it, you can.
What do you use to braise it to get that sear?
Yeah, so I would do
oil.
I would do I do butter. You could do oil. So get a cast iron skillet as hot as you can get it. Put a little layer of butter or oil down, and I would go 3 to 4 minutes on each side, get your crust, and then once you temp it at around 135 in the middle, it's ready to go.
Go with avocado oil. Get those seed oils out of your life, all right? Get seed oils out of your life. Go avocado oil. right, anyway. All right, so what else we got?
I think
that was it. That was the duck. All right, so tell me how how you stuff the duck.
So we butterfly the breast. It comes in. They come in packs of 2. We butterfly the breast, and then we put a layer of cream cheese and pickled jalapenos. Wrap it back up with bacon, and it's excellent.
Duck. I love duck meat. It's amazing. So that would be a really nice, like you get that nice, really spice from the heat from the jalapeno in there, and then the flavor of the cream cheese to offset the duck. That looks pretty awesome. I'll probably take a bite of that here in a little bit.
Yes.
All right. So you mentioned the deer sausage as well. I know it's deer season. You'll get hunters bringing the deer.
Yes,
the deer in.
We're already getting tons of deer, and as everyone knows, it is holiday season. We're doing all turkeys, turduckens, sides, everything, and we have 30-degree weather coming in next week.
How about that?
Gallons of gumbo, soups, etouffees, gumbos, and boiling bags already ready. 8 to 10 minutes, just drop it in boiling water, and you have it.
ChrisSpecialtyFoods.com is the website. ChrisSpecialtyFoods.com. 4 locations: Highland Road, near I-10, Millerville, Lakeview in the New Orleans area, and of course Central as well. 4 locations. And so you'll process the entire deer for people. If they shoot the deer, they can bring it.
Yep.
Or they kill the deer, they bring it to Chris's. Does it matter which location they bring it to?
No, you can bring it to either location, any of the locations, and it'll all come back to Millerville, get processed, and brought back to your store.
Awesome. Chris Specialty Foods, ChrisSpecialtyFoods.com. Great for holiday gift baskets and gift items as well. If you got client gift that need to go, great option like that. So we'll tell you much more. It's all at the website as well, ChrisSpecialtyFoods.com. So it's the back-to-back S, as I say, ChrisSpecialtyFoods.com. Okay, we got 30 seconds. LSU Bama. Tell me Tigers are going to win. Come on. Tell me why.
I'll
Defensive coordinator here. Let me hear it.
I'll go with the cover. I saw a stat that when a team fires a coach, it's at like 68% of the time that next week that team covers.
All right.
So I think LSU will keep it. They have new life, new energy. They're playing for a new coach. I think they will come out heads on fire. But I don't think it's enough to get it
Coben,
done.
I need you to be the positive one here, man. I'm the realistic one. You're the positive one. Thanks for coming. That's Coben from Chris's. All right, Terrio's here. Hour 2 next.
AFR.
All right, as we put a button on hour number 1 from Don Juan Cigar Bar, remind you about Parish Restoration, parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor. Remember, we're talking about your home, your office, your church, your school, doctor's office, any commercial building, industrial facility. If you have mold or other harmful pathogens, like, look, it's cold and flu season. Maybe you have a virus that starts running rampant throughout the office building. You want to knock it out? Easy. Call Parish Restoration. They'll come in. They'll spray their patented non-toxic dry fog. They'll let it dwell. It'll kill everything down to the spores. And then, boom, as soon as that fog dissipates, you're back in free, clear, sanitized, and clean smelling. That's right. Maybe it's odor-causing bacteria that you need to get rid of from smoke, like if you cigarette or cigar smoke in a house or a vehicle, pet odor, sweat, anything like that could cause that odor. Parish Restoration can knock it out. parishrestoration.com.